And if I told you once, I ain't gonna tell you twice. Salute all my real ones. Yeah, look, bro. We got how Travis Scott finessed Nicki Minaj for a #1 album. They should have finished that. This video is by Trap Lord Ross. If it ain't Trap Lord, you don't gotta ask more. But yeah, so we about to just dive straight into the video. Before we do that, like button, subscribe button, notification bell, press those. Let's go.
But what we not gonna do is have this auto-tune man come.
Yeah, how straight off the jump, how you just gonna call Travis Scott auto-tune man? Like,
coming up here,
you know what I'm saying? T-Pain is auto-tune man.
Selling fucking sweaters and telling y'all he sold 500,000 fucking albums because he didn't.
Hip-hop is no stranger to rappers throwing tantrums about sales. Whether it's 50 Cent pledging to quit the rap game if he got beat in sales by Kanye West, he lost but unfortunately is still rapping, or Boosie Badass copying a strop after his album only sold 300 copies, or even Trap Lord Ross, who recently threw an Instagram tantrum about poor streaming numbers of his album Viper the Piper.
What's good, people? It's your boy Trap Lord Ross, man. Just checking in with the fans. Just wanted to see how everyone's enjoying my new album Viper the Piper that recently dropped on all streaming platforms. Let's check out the numbers and see how much the fans been showing me support. All right, cool. So we got me up there. Let's see, man. Couple mil. Oh, okay. Yo, man, how's less than 1,000 people stream my album? I thought you guys were riding for me. I got 180,000 subs. No one's streaming my album, man. This is embarrassing. Everyone's out there streaming Fiddy's album, Kanye's album. You can't even give a brother 1,000 streams. Oh, Kelly got more streams than me, man.
Well, in order to avoid the impending disappointment of
that's a double entendre. You know what I'm saying? Streams. It's a double
flagging record sales, many rappers and musicians have turned to the album bundling sales finesse in order to fluff up their numbers. If you watch my recent video on all the companies that Jay-Z finessed in order to become a billionaire, you'll know that Jay-Z's had mixed success over the years trying to flog his albums bundled in with products from Samsung and Sprint. And we all remember DJ Khaled's recent tantrum about being finessed out of the #1 spot by Tyler the Creator after failing at his own merch bundling finesse. But it was actually legendary rock star and lover of pancakes and all things purple, Prince, that invented the album bundling finesse. In 2004, Prince released his album Musicology, also known as the least employable degree in the world, and he spent the entire year giving away copies of that album bundled in with his tour tickets, keeping it on the charts for 28 weeks running. By January of 2005, that album had already gone double platinum, and Billboard were just starting to get pissed off with this finesse.
Man, R.I.P. to GOAT Prince, man. Like, I know I've never really, like, listened to his music like that, but, yo, anytime somebody's able to hustle the music industry for their own gain, and it's an artist specifically, I'm all for it. Shout out to Prince.
They decided to purple rain on his parade and announced that in future, the price of the CD either needed to be added to the ticket or the buyer be offered a discount on that ticket equal to the value of the CD if they want to forego it. But some people may remember that a year before DJ Khaled was throwing his tantrum, Nicki Minaj was throwing a tantrum for the exact same reasons. Her target? Travis Scott. In August 2018, Travis Scott drops his album Astroworld. This comes in at #1 on the Billboard chart, shifting around 537,000 units. This was actually the second largest first week debut of the entire year, just behind Drake's Scorpion. Well, maybe if Travis had used the album to announce that he'd knocked up a French porn star. I mean, close, but not quite. But regardless of questionable pregnancies, the album was a certified hit. But things heated up a week later when the announcement came out that Travis Scott had held down the #1 slot a second week in a row, beating out Nicki Minaj's new album Queen that had just released, selling around 200,000 copies. Now let's not forget the fact that a #2 album is still a huge achievement for Nicki Minaj. I mean, at this point she's now scored 4 top 2 albums, a record for any female hip-hop artist. She was also runner-up to the biggest debut by a female artist in 2018, just being beaten out by her arch-nemesis Cardi B, who sold around 255,000 units. That one's gotta hurt. I mean, basically Nicki Minaj is like the rap equivalent of holding the most silver medals in Olympic history, which is still technically an achievement. I mean, you are the best loser. I mean, you were so close to winning and you beat out all the other losers. In fact,
you see, yo, you know what I'm saying? He throwing salt in the wound. Like, I love this slander though. Like, yo, it's funny because he's giving her like a backhanded compliment, and I love that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why his videos is entertaining to me. But yeah, like it is true though. It's like, yo, Nicki should count her blessings, because it's like, yo, you could go out in public and you could complain that, oh, I didn't get a #1 album. Like, meanwhile, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about what you're complaining about to the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're complaining that your album didn't reach #1 but #2, but it got to #2. And how many millions did you still make off of this album? You know what I'm saying?
You're so good at losing. You have the best medal for somebody who didn't win. You're king of the losers. But it turns out Nicki Minaj was a loser of the sore variety. She decides to tweet out that her first album sold 400,000 units in the first week, irrelevant, and that nobody is doing that with their debut albums now. Nice work, Nicki, moving the goalpost when Travis Scott had smashed those numbers just a week before. She then followed up that absolute clanger with another tweet calling out Travis for selling 50,000 of his units from albums that were bundled with tour merchandise without any tour actually being scheduled. She then continued to go full-on Kanye off his meds on Twitter by calling out Spotify for messing with her album advertising, suggesting that they were annoyed because she premiered her album early on Apple. Let's not forget that she does have a deal with Apple and that her Queen radio show is hosted on Apple Music. She goes on to suggest that Spotify were looking to punish her and that Drake's face was on every single playlist. Oh, you know, Drake, who gets $20 million checks from Apple and also has his own show on Apple Music. But Nicki is all too happy to point this out, seemingly negating her own point that Spotify would punish her for being with Apple, meanwhile suggesting that Spotify are dumb for rewarding another Apple lackey. Yeah, Nicki, you know how to improve that relationship with Spotify going forward to your next release? Call them out on Twitter for being idiots and liars. Right. If it's good enough for an ex-boyfriend, it's good enough for Spotify, eh? She then leaned in on her DJ Khaled shit and called out Billboard, dissing their charting stipulations and saying that Travis unfairly finessed his way to the top of the charts with his bundles, and that if you compare his figures to the opening debuts of albums from the Carters, Nas, and Kanye West, you can plainly see that. Okay, well, let's take a look at those figures. Kanye West's Ye sold 208,000 copies in the first week. Jay-Z and Beyonce's The Carters' Everything Is Love album only sold 123,000 copies first week, and Nas's Kanye West-produced album Nasir only sold a measly 77,000 copies in the first week. So think about that for a second. Travis Scott had a bigger opening week than Kanye West, Nas, Jay-Z, and Beyonce combined. He's popping. So even if you completely discount Nicki Minaj's unsubstantiated claim that Travis Scott had sold 200,000 bundled copies of his albums in the first week.
And to tell the truth, Astro World was probably the best rap album of that year. Like, compared to Jay is my favorite artist, Nas is in my top 3. Jay, Nas, Kanye did Nas's joint, and the Jay-Z and Beyonce joint, and even the Kanye joint himself, like. Nah, like his album was better than his, like, and he had the singles and he had the tracks. Like Coffee Bean is still one of my favorite records, even though Saha the Prince wrote it.
Travis still mopped the floor, outselling everybody with discounted sales of 337,000 copies in the first week. Then Nicki really jumped the shark by deciding to diss Kylie Jenner and her 6-month-old baby Stormi for offering tour packages bundled with the album where you could have a meet and greet with Travis, Kylie, and Stormi. Yeah, dissing a 6-month-old baby, that's real class, Nicki.
Right. He and his label decided to have Kylie and baby Stormi put up a tour pass. He had her go and post and say, hey, me and Stormi can't wait to see y'all.
So if you set aside Nicki Minaj's rabid fan base of teenage...
Yo, Barbs, I don't want no smoke. Any Barbs see this? I don't want no smoke. Nicki is the queen. She's probably the greatest female rapper of all time, but this is fuckery.
Playboy pencil case having girls for a minute, it's no surprise that she looked like an idiot for saying these things. Firstly, Nicki Minaj got Donkey of the Day from The Breakfast Club for her misguided bitching, and street side punching bag Charlemagne had some sage advice for her.
And for all the Barbs out there who are in my mentions right now, ready to slander me all day for giving Nicki Donkey of the Day, how about take that energy to Apple? Take it to Tidal, take it to Spotify, take it to record stores. Instead of putting energy into slandering people who you think hate Nicki Minaj, go support her music.
Put your number 2s in the air if you did it on right now.
Throw your 2s up! But music journalist for the failing New York Times, Joe Coscarelli, came out a day later to expose Nicki for some of the contradictions in her arguments. He pointed out all the things that Nicki Minaj blamed for her not hitting #1, then deconstructed her hypocrisy point by point with all the precision of a Cardi B laser hair removal treatment. Nicki was annoyed that Travis Scott was bundling merchandise and clothes with his album? Well, it turns out she was also bundling her album with clothes that nobody even wanted. God, how much unsold 6ix9ine merch do you think is still sitting around in Nicki's warehouse? Probably about as much unsold merch as I have sitting around in my house. Please, for the love of God, buy some merch, people. Please. Please. All my videos are getting demonetized, please. She also claimed that Spotify had been punishing her in favor of Drake. Well, it turns out that Spotify had actually funded a Times Square billboard of Nicki Minaj to promote her project. And Spotify even came out to rebuff her claims, confirming that she had indeed been given this billboard, as well as exclusive playlist slots, and confirming that her streaming numbers had indeed improved off the back of their campaign. But despite being set straight by Spotify, Nicki Minaj was also exposed for trying to do a last-minute finesse to get her and 6ix9ine's song Fifi that was originally on his album put as a bonus track onto her Queen album to allow her to latch on to those extra 43 million streams that had existed on that song. And bear in mind, the biggest track of hers after this was the song Barbie Dreams, which only had been streamed 16.5 million times. But in the face of these straight facts, Nicki Minaj doubled down on her stupidity and continued to air Travis Scott out on her Queen radio show, dissing his auto-tune and reiterating all of those invalid points she'd already made on Twitter.
But what we not gonna do is have this auto-tune man coming up here selling fucking sweaters and telling y'all he sold 500,000 fucking albums, because he didn't.
And at one point she seemed to get so angry that she had a seizure and fell face down onto the sound effect keyboard.
I'm not scared. I'm legendary in these streets. I'm legendary in these streets. I'm legend. I'm legend. I'm legend. Oh!
After recovering from this case of spontaneous funk flex syndrome, Nicki Minaj wasn't done beefing, and on August 21st, she attended the VMAs wearing what I could only describe as a Kanye West Yeezy Season non-functional life jacket. Nicki was at the VMAs to collect the Best Hip Hop Award, unusual for her to not be runner-up for once, but the event's plans were made even more spicy by reports that Travis Scott had actually been moved away from Nicki Minaj in the seating arrangements for the night. Travis then took to the stage to perform and ended his set by reminding everybody that he had the #1 album, just rubbing a little bit of extra salt in those Barbie's wounds.
Astroworld #1 right now!
It even looked for a second that Kylie was about to catch the fade from Nicki before she quickly went and hid behind some security. Look, I know this whole video is roasting Nicki for being a sore loser, but I would have given anything to see Nicki slap the makeup off Kylie that moment. I mean, Nicki Minaj and Tory Lanez would make a great couple. They've got their ops on ropes. But things would go from bad to worse for Nicki, and following the VMAs, it was announced that she would actually be cancelling several tour dates on her North American tour. And
now, the only thing I will say is how Travis got finessed Nicki. But, like, yo, Trap, you're making this whole video basically about Nicki.
Funding fans tickets. This was apparently due to poor sales and her not filling out the venues that she was booked to play. For example, apparently her hometown gig at the New York Barclays Center with a 19,000 seat capacity had only sold 5,050 tickets, a location that Travis Scott would be selling out completely for his Astroworld tour in March. Her excuse was, of course, that she'd been so busy recording her #2 album that she wouldn't have time to rehearse her show to the silver standard that her fans expect.
And this was all happening because I pushed my album back 2 months. And I just finished writing and recording literally hours before the album came out. So now I just simply don't have the time to rehearse.
All right, hold on. What artist puts out an album that they put mad work into to not tour off of that album or not tour at all? Name me an artist that makes more money off of selling the physical or the streams of an album than they do off tour. Where artists make their money is by touring. So if you drop an album, you want to be able to tour for the next year, because that's where you're going to stack your bread and make your bread off of. So I'm not trying to say that that's cap, but that's like snapback right there. If it's not cap, it's snapback or Scully. At least it's Scully.
And be on the road in time to give you guys the level of a show I need to give.
Damn, if she'd have only bundled those tickets with her fire #2 album, right, Bobs? No? Okay. Nicki Minaj continued bundling her public appearances with a large dose of rock salt, turning up on The Ellen Show a month later and telling her that she wanted to punch Travis Scott in the face because she'd lost out on the top spot.
I felt like I wanted to punch him in his face. Okay.
Nicki Minaj there taking the high ground. I think there's that classic Michelle Obama quote. What is it? When they go low, we go on Ellen and threaten to punch them in the face. She went on to say that she was grateful following the success of her album, you know, that #2 success. And she said she doesn't like being bullied or ganged up on.
And I'm like the most grateful person in the world. I love being grateful and remembering that things could be worse, okay? I started from nothing. I'm one of those people who, I get it. But I don't like being bullied and I don't like being taken advantage of.
You know, that thing that she gets her impressionable teenage fans to do when somebody does something she doesn't like. But again, she shamelessly went on with no self-awareness at all and said that it's not fair for somebody to try and finesse the album sales game with merchandise bundles.
Yes, okay. He sold a lot of t-shirts and sweaters. Okay. And tour passes. And so we're not gonna have that.
But one of the weirdest and most underreported aspects of this beef is her beef with Travis Scott's manager, Irving Azoff. The salty songstress awarded him Cocksucker of the Day, saying that he was actually responsible for putting out a smear campaign about her tour, pulling strings that he supposedly had from a former position at Ticketmaster.
Yo, if she awarded that to this old white dude who's just a manager, that's disrespect on a level that hasn't even been invented yet. Damn, like, even the managers catching strays.
So naturally, she failed to provide any proof. But this seemingly innocuous diss would age very badly when 10 months later, she was rumored to be in talks with actually signing with him under management. Supposedly, Azoff was grilled by Nicki on whether or not Travis hated her after that beef, but it's never actually been confirmed publicly whether Azoff became her manager. But regardless of who took that management position, I hope that they can manage to help Nicki keep her mouth shut when it comes to being a sore loser. Nicki, you're so out of touch, it's unreal. Not only are you wrong, but you're also grossly overestimating how much of a shit people give about your album being #1. People that wanted your stupid album went and bought it, and people that wanted Travis' stupid album went and bought that. And people that wanted Travis's stupid sweatshirt and stupid ticket to his stupid concert or stupid meet and greet with his stupid daughter and stupid girlfriend bought that too. No one gives a shit about you being #2, and comparing yourself to a civil rights activist isn't doing you any favors. It's pathetic, and frankly, your army of preteen girls who seem to back you up in every single beef that you get into don't have any say in what makes a good product or a good piece of art in the marketplace. I suggest you grow up and take the same advice that I gave to Space Ghost Perp and 6ix9ine. Focus on making good art and not beefing, and people will care. Because in 5 years' time, no one's going to be listening to the videos of you making a spectacle of yourself and being a sore loser. But they will be listening to Travis's album, because it's a good piece of art. But then again, the facts are, if the album bundling finesse works, why not take advantage of it? Don't be a sore loser, because you tried and you got finessed yourself. Sometimes the finesser becomes the finessee. So on that note, I'm very excited to announce my own album sales bundle, Finesse, to stimulate sales and streams of my recent flop album, Viper the Piper. Act now and you'll get a free copy of the album with any...
Alright, I'm gonna stop it there because this is not about Trap Lord's album. You know what? Just to support him, I'm gonna actually go stream this. I got my phone right here, so I'm about to add this right now. But yeah, so while I'm adding this, let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about the video. Do y'all think that Nicki had a reason to actually go at Travis Scott, or was she just tight that you know, she wasn't able to do what he did as far as finessing to the same level that Travis did? I know me, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't feel that artists should be able to bundle different sweaters and album. Like, all I care, like, yo, just sell the album, bro. But then again, it's like the fans wind up winning with all the bundles, because, yo, for the same amount of bread, you get the album, you get tickets, you might get some merch. So how could you really hate on anybody doing that? You know what I'm saying? I got Tidal and his joint isn't popping up. But yeah, man, so let me know what y'all thought of the video. If y'all want me to react to more stuff like this. My name is Reign. Catch you on the flip side. RCP. Salutes. Wait for it. Dab on them.